Hi, welcome to my channel. As a result of watching my videos, I will explain the fundamentals of the books that I've read and allow you to make an informed decision on if this is the next book that you need to read to change your life. If you like my content, please hit the subscribe button here and keep watching. Hi, so today I'd like to take you through Limitless by Jim Kwik. This was a great book. I read this back in 2020, late 2020, as I was looking for a better way to teach and to really, how do I help myself? How do I help the people around me? And for me, this was a really fantastic book. So what I want to take you through today is the two key fundamentals that I found for me. The first one is pretty quick, but it is essential in what you need to learn, and the first chapter is about how to learn. And what I found was it was very inspirational, very supportive, very basic, but really took home the things that we don't even think about. So Jim Kwik breaks it down into a process called FASTER, and FASTER is the acronym. And basically it's forget, it's act, state, teach, enter, and review. What I'd like to do is just take you quickly through each of those and just give you an overview. Now this is a really basic overview. You really do need to read the whole book to get the full understanding and the interpretations, to really make it practical for you. But here's my take on this. So forget. It's really about your belief systems. And it's around what you've been taught over your whole lifetime. And really, it is the fundamental for me of this process, because as Jim explains, you're programmed from a very early age as to what your beliefs are and how you learn. So forgetting what you have learned in an ability to release yourself, to start learning in a different way, is a real key fundamental for me, and really helped me to understand that people have been learning for so many years and we need to start to change how they do that. The second point was act. So being in the moment and being actively engaged in all of your learning. If you're not actively involved in it, then don't do it. And he puts it as bluntly as that. State, and this is really about your state of mind. Are you restless? Are you fully rested? Are you uneasy, nervous, thinking about something else, not concentrating? And he really talks about how you need to put your state of mind in the right frame for learning. And when you're there, you absorb so much more and you really take it to the next level. For me, the next really big part of this was teach. Demonstrating and teaching this to others and being able to educate the people that are around you of what you've learned and what the benefits are and how they can take advantage of this process, for me was a fundamental. I like to try and teach this out as soon as I've learnt a book now, and basically start to teach those learnings, key learnings that I find within each of it, and everyone has different takes on that. The next part is enter. And this is a really basic process. This is about putting it in your schedule, putting in your Outlook calendar, making time for learning. Whether that be grabbing a book, going to a podcast, watching a YouTube video like this, doesn't really matter, but it's about putting it in as a regular time for you. So you're constantly evolving and growing. The last bit is reviewing. Now, again, this is a very simple process, but it's all about just going back through what you've learned to understand and recomprehend and be able to take in everything. Because you do only take in a portion of what you've learned every time. So the more you read through it, the more you take it in. Don't do it back to back, but do it. It is imperative to how you learn. But one of the key fundamentals that did come out of this book, and a key quote that I really do like, is Your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. So when you start to learn, you really need to pull that ripcord and open that parachute to open your mind. So let's move on to... Okay, so welcome back. So we're going to now look at the second key fundamental. Now this is broken up into 3 sections, which is mindset, motivation, and method. So let's talk through one by one. So in this chapter, Jim talks about the limitless mindset. So what does that mean? He talks about how the mindset is made up of beliefs, assumptions, and attitudes we hold about ourselves and the world around us. So what does that really mean? Again, like in Faster, he really talks about how your beliefs, your assumptions, your attitudes really make a difference to how you learn. So he calls this the 3 M's. So we're going to start with mindset. And mindset is all about beliefs. And basically, what are the beliefs that drive you to make the decisions that you make? And it really takes you through looking at what limiting beliefs you have created through your life. And what are those that are affecting your life? And those that shape the way that you learn. So he really looks through and takes you on a journey to understand what do you need to change, what do you need to understand about your learnings, how you learn, why you learn, and your belief system that is making those decisions for you, and then helping you to reaffirm how to either support those beliefs or change those beliefs. So for me, this was a really good opening to the limitless mindset, and it really took me on a journey as to where am I going, why am I going there, and also how have I got to where I am, and really gave me a picture to look back on my history of learning. The next step was motivation. And this is really about your why and also your purpose. So why are you learning in the way you do? Why do you do the things that you do? And your passion. And he breaks it down into a process called purpose times your energy times simple steps. So this is how your values fuel your purpose, how your motivation or your energy, and then looks at how simple steps and habits can make you achieve great motivation and keep you motivated through this learning process. And I think for this, it was really about understanding what am I trying to achieve through the purpose, then looking at my motivational energy, so putting that faster into step, and looking at how do I schedule my time, how do I keep my motivation going, and that all supports the simple steps. Now, the simple steps is all about your habits. How do you put small little habits in place to create that 1% improvement? And it really comes back to that faster process, but it also comes back to, working through those simple little steps to achieve that 1% every day. Hi, so welcome back. We're going to talk through now methods as part of the 3M. I want to start with a quote. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. This was a quote by Jim Kwik through the book, and he's really talking about how do you control the things around you rather than just reacting to it. So through this process, I want to take you through what the method is and my 4 key points. This is how he implemented your learnings through Limitless. The first one was the biggest showstopper for me, and it's called 3 Ds. It's digital overload, digital dementia, and digital distraction. And for me, until I really thought about this and I really went through it, I thought after reading it, I do all of these really, really badly. So one of the things is he talks through digital distraction. Have you ever been to a meeting and you're sitting there and you get halfway through the meeting and you go, what did anybody just say? Because you were sitting there reading your emails, typing away, working on other work instead of being involved in the meeting. Happens a lot, right? And this is a part of digital distraction. And what Jim talks through in this section is really disconnecting and making sure that your focus and you are there and you are present. You are engaged in that learning. That meeting or that event is there for you to learn and to be involved in part of. So really remove the digital distractions. Technology is there to support us. It's not there to constantly bombard us. It's there as a support tool. Digital dementia. This was another really big one that I'd never thought about until Jim explained it and put it as simply as this. When you were growing up and you had your friends all around the neighborhood, you could remember their telephone numbers off the top of your head. Well, I could anyway. Nowadays, I can't remember even my wife's mobile phone number, let alone 10 numbers like I did 20 years ago. What's the difference? Today, I have my iPhone, I just look it up, and there it is. So I rely on that technology to do the thinking for me, rather than me doing the thinking for me. And he talks through how we really need to stop relying so much on the digital age to do everything for us, and really start to exercise our minds more than we do now, back to how we used to, because we used to be able to do these things. And just as technology to get up, yes, there's pros and cons, but I really find, yes, I don't need to remember everybody's phone number, but there's things like birthdays, people's names, those really important things to us, I would really like to learn and retain. Then digital overload. Now, this is again a part of our new society with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all these different things, YouTube, that information is coming at us. So he talks through how digital overload gives you so much information that you struggle to retain it. So only using information when you need, how you need, to make sure that you're obtaining the best quality of information rather than trying to take on too much. And like I said, for me, these were really key in starting to make my change. And I find that just living through these 3 points helped me a lot and could help you too. So take a really good read of it through the book and see how it helps you. The next point is habits. So I talked on this briefly before, and Jim calls it the S3. So it's simple steps multiplied. And it's all about how do you put habits in place to take those simple steps to reinforce the digital overload, digital dementia, digital distraction, the faster process. It's about putting these little habits in place to set these stones so you keep walking through that journey to get to the end result. And it's all about that 1% gain. You know, you'll hear it and you'll see it all across the internet. Making those 1% incremental gains is all you need to achieve to make a major change within your life, especially on a day-to-day basis. So keep practicing faster, keep on reading, have a read of this book, it'll help you through. Now, another big point for me was connections. Making connections between your learnings and your memories. And what I find here is, and what I read through this and took away was, the more that you can learn from and make a memory from your learning, the greater the likelihood of you to remember it. Because what you do is you associate smell, taste, feelings, emotions, physical attributes that you don't get through just a read. So, great positive things about reading, but take these journeys and take the faster process to make those memories and make your own stories. Teach those stories and learn from those stories and teach others. And I found that was a great thing for me to remember, and the more that I experience it, the more likelihood it is for me to retain it. So it was a great learning. Lastly, the speed reading. So this is very brief, and I know Jim does offer an external program to this. I'll put the links below, and I'll put the links to this book below. But really here, I really found that it was very brief. There was one key fundamental for me, and I wasn't a big reader before this book. Now, I wouldn't have read maybe 2 books prior to this in my lifetime, and since then, I've read almost a dozen. So it really has helped me to be able to read, why I read, and how I read. And the basic techniques that I learned through this was changing my beliefs, why I'm learning, why I need to learn it, and really changing my whole mindset. And then one of the other key silly ideas was using my finger to trace the words. I was a really bad reader when I first started, and a very slow reader. So I would get a quarter of the way through a sentence and then have to go to the beginning to read what I just read, because I'd forget what I just read. Where through this book, I've now learned to speed read and to keep at a pace that my mind is now working with the book and working with myself. So I'm not getting bored with the words that I read. And I think that was one of my key distractions when I was trying to read. Now I can flow through it. From the start of this book to the end of this book, I doubled my speed reading. Still a long way to go, but getting better every day. Again, it is practice. It really does take you to spend some time, put some dedication into it, put those habits in place. But I know that from reading this book, you really can be limitless, and you really can start to learn and how to learn better. So I really recommend you give this book a go. It's not a big book, but it's a really inspirational book. I really, really loved it. I've offered it to family and friends, and I recommend it to you. Again, I've put the link below. Please jump on that and give it a read and throw some comments below for us. We look forward to you in the next episode, and we'll catch you then.